In this second video response, I chose to examine the movie Pulp Fiction a little more. I found an interview that Quentin Tarantino discussed 10 of his most important role models. During the interview, these are the 10 people that Tarantino wanted to dedicate to. In the interview, Quentin Tarantino expresses his admiration and influence of Hong Kong cinema, particularly highlighting the impact of director John Woo. He considers Hong Kong cinema, especially from the era he mentions during the interview, as the most invigorating cinema globally. Tarantino reflects on the lackluster period for action of filmmaking in the 80s, mentioning the decline of certain directors and the absence of groundbreaking figures like Sergio Leone. Tarantino sees John Woo as a significant force who brought a fresh and innovative perspective to action filmmaking, comparing him to the likes of Leone in terms of presenting something new to audiences. He praises Woo for showing audiences a different approach to action, making it clear that Woo's work had a profound influence on him. After watching the interview that Tarantino gave, I decided to watch a scene from the movie The Killer by John Woo. The scene I decided to watch was the final shootout scene that occurred in the church, which is known for its intense gunplay and stylized choreography, which likely influenced Tarantino's approach to action scenes in Pulp Fiction. I'll be comparing how the church shootout scene at the end of the movie influenced the diner hold-up scene in Pulp Fiction in 4 different ways. The first way we'll be looking at is the stylized violence. In The Killer, Woo is known for his stylized and choreographed violence, often using slow motion, intricate gunplay, and close-ups to emphasize the impact of the action scenes. The diner scene, although not as action-packed, features an unexpected and intense violence moment, creating a visceral impact on the audience. Second, we'll be looking at the unconventional settings in both movies. In The Killer, Woo often places action sequences in unconventional settings, such as churches or hospitals, adding a layer of unpredictability and tension. You wouldn't think of seeing such a violent scene happening in a church at the end of the movie. In Pulp Fiction, the diner scene stands out as an unconventional setting, where seemingly mundane moments turn into intense situations. This choice of setting contributes to the uniqueness and impact of the scene. You wouldn't think of just going in for a bite to eat turning into a hold-up. Now we'll be looking at the character dynamics. In The Killer, Woo's characters are often complex with morally ambiguous qualities adding depth to the narrative. In Pulp Fiction, Tarantino's characters share a similar complexity. The diner scene involves engaging dialogue and character interactions contributing to the overall richness of the story. And finally, now we'll be comparing the dynamic camera work between the two films. In The Killer, Woo is known for his dynamic camera movements capturing the energy and intensity of the action scenes. Whereas in Pulp Fiction, Tarantino employs dynamic camera work as well, although not as action-oriented, to enhance the tension and engagement within dialogue-heavy scenes, including the diner scene. When the 2 robbers at the time figure out, we'll decide to rob the place, the camera jumps up with them when they pull out their guns. John Woo's influence, I believe, led to a shift away from traditional storytelling structures, encouraging filmmakers to experiment with non-linear stories and eclectic genres. The success of Pulp Fiction contributed to a rise in independent cinema, fostering a new wave of filmmakers who embraced unconventional storytelling methods and bold visual styles. Additionally, Tarantino's incorporation of intense and stylized action scenes inspired by Woo's work contributed to a reimagining of the action genre in American cinema. The 90s saw a move towards more visceral, character-driven action sequences, departing from the formula approach of previous decades. Overall, Tarantino's influence, shaped in part by directors like John Woo, played a pivotal role in shaping the direction of American cinema in the 90s, fostering creativity, experimentation, and a departure from conventional norms.